Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode, the final episode of the penultimate season of this NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode as we get ready to decide the final four in all three series here today with the Trucks, Xfinity, as well as Cup Series. It's been a long, grueling season. Excited for our final race today with Hendrick Motorsports in that number 24 car before we take the next step for that final season of the career mode, moving over into the number 6 Roush LeBron Racing Ford Mustang. But first, we have the Trucks and Xfinity series to take care of, where we come through into the Truck series with subscriber Jeffrey Slater behind the wheel for our race here in Phoenix Raceway, where in the Truck series we are in the final four, just like we are actually in all three series actually here, as we're going for a championship with Paul Menard in his final race today in Xfinity. But you can see here Jeffrey Slater right off the bat getting very aggressive in this race. He got through the middle, three wide, jumped up already into, I think it was the fourth position. Yes, he was, and then makes a move up the inside of the 51 here down into turn 3 and jumps up already towards a potential third position. As he came through out of turns 4, he would be able to take over P3. Unfortunately, that was as far as we got, but that was enough to hold on to the championship lead, and then it was just defense right to the final lap of this race. Slater didn't have anything for the top two drivers here in this race from Phoenix for the Lucas Oil 150, but out of turn 2, down the spag straightaway for the final time, it was looking like a championship as he went down into turn 3, and sure enough, finally here in the Truck Series, we're going to win another championship now as Jeffrey Slater brings it home in the perfect spot there to hold on to that championship over the other three contenders. So we start the day off with a title here in the Truck Series, as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Next season, we're going to be jumping over to Ford here for Trucks and Xfinity, of course, as we're moving to Ford in the Cup Series with that Roush LeBron Racing team. So I'm excited to see how that could potentially change things for us here with performance in all three series. That is now, as we're going to jump through into now the Xfinity Series race with Paul Menard behind the wheel. Like I said, Paul Menard, his final ever NASCAR race now, as we took him on about 3 seasons, I think it was, ago, and said, you know what, Paul, I think you can win our team a championship, and we decided to bring him out of retirement, and he's not been able to win us a championship, but he has had an unbelievable season here for Going Racing in the Xfinity Series in the Final Four. Got aggressive right off the bat, just like we saw in the Truck Series with Jeffrey Slater behind the wheel, 3 wide through the middle, and Menard was already leading the Final Four battle. Not a single car in front of him was in the battle for the championship. So Paul already pretty much on defense mode, looking for his first ever NASCAR Top 3 Series championship here in his final NASCAR race now, as he cuts down through that dog leg to gain a few more positions. He kind of got stuck behind Justin Allgaier, but decided to actually get physical here, as you're going to see now going down the back straightaway, a push to the back of the 7, sending him sideways into turn 3. That would open the door for Menard on the inside right there to go by, and he would move up into P3. He wastes no time. He would actually do it again to AJ Allmendinger in the Call League 11 car, gives him a push into turn 3, sends him deep into the corner. Up the inside, Menard would go on the exit of turns 4 and move up into the 2nd position, but that was as far as it got, as it was Chris Buescher leading the way on the final lap of this race. But Paul Menard, in his final ever NASCAR start, comes through turn 3 and out of turns 4 to win his first ever NASCAR Series championship, as we are now champions in both the Trucks and Xfinity Series, and that's Going Racing's first ever Xfinity Series title. Finally, that it happened. I don't even think we got one in NASCAR Heat 4, so I think this is the first one ever since we've had our own Xfinity team. So far, this episode gets off to a tremendous start here from the Trucks and Xfinity Series races, but now we have the most important race of all, our final race for Gordon Hendrick Motorsports with the 24 team, as we're going for a championship against Chase Elliott at McLaren, Christian Eckes at Red Bull, and Brandon Jones at AlphaTauri. Now, as we're running a special scheme for our final race with the 24, this was made by Santi Dominguez. You can follow him at SD Graphics. I'll put his Twitter and Instagram in the description. This right here was an entry for the Going Razor contest a few seasons ago, when I let people design a potential primary scheme, and this was my favorite one overall, and I finally decided, you know what, it didn't win, but I wanted to run it here for the final race with this 24 car. Now, as we were coming through with our qualifying attempt down this front straightaway, we would cross the line with a 32.130 here for the season finale at Miami, qualifying 9th place. But where does that compare us to our championship 4 competitors? Well, there you see immediately Christian Eckes in 11th, Brandon Jones in P13, and I'm assuming Chase Elliott, with his record of qualifying qualifying this season. He's up towards the front. Yes, he is. He is on pole immediately. A statement from Chase Elliott, who nearly got the pole by a whole tenth over his teammate of Eric Jones. Now, as we look down through the rest of the order before we get ready to go green for this final race of the season here in Homestead Miami Speedway. Now, a champion is about to be crowned now, as you see Austin Dillon rounding out the top 30. Daniel Suarez, the final race for going, racing up there in 39th. So now let's get ready to go to the grid as we get a bit of a flyby here of the Miami City here close to Homestead Miami Speedway. A little bit, quite actually, a ways away from the track now, as we have brought Microsoft Flight Simulator back into it now, as we are ready for 67 laps here around Homestead Miami. Chase Elliott, myself, Christian Eckes, and Brandon Jones ready to fight it out for a championship here from Homestead Miami. Who's going to come out on top? Hopefully it's us, but we're about to find out. All right, boys, one final race together. Thank you for everything. Jeff Gordon, Rick Hendrick, thank you for giving me an opportunity here to be on this team. We've gotten one championship together. We've gotten a lot of race wins. I don't see why we can't go out a champion for the second time tonight, so let's go have some fun. There you hear myself on the radio getting ready to take the green flag for the Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead at Miami Speedway, the final race of the season. 35 races complete, 36 about to start now, as you see the final four contender Chase Elliott for McLaren on pole. Our teammate there, Gordon Hendrick, Ryan Blaney in the 25 failed optical scanning station multiple times. He will return to that Gordon Hendrick team next season, as Gordon Hendrick as a whole looks to make some more R&D improvements hopefully next season. Now, as the championship 4 race from Homestead Miami Speedway is underway, our first time getting to decide a champion at Homestead Miami. Hopefully it does not disappoint now, as maybe if you're new to the series, you can notice some mods in the videos, and I mod the schedule as well, so that's why Homestead is the finale now, as we come through turns 1 right behind that number 4 of Haley Deegan. Last season it was Las Vegas as the season finale, and we came up just short of a championship there, and of course when it was Phoenix, we actually won a championship at Phoenix, so it was what, 2 seasons ago when we won our first ever Cup Series championship. Now, as we come through, already up into the 6th position after passing the number 23 of Bubba Wallace. I was so surprised to see him end up missing the final 4 with what an incredible season Bubba Wallace had here for 2311 Racing now. So it was a little bit unfortunate for him. I would have loved if it was a battle between myself, Elliott, Eckes, and Bubba. I felt like us 4 were the top drivers this season, but Brandon Jones in the AlphaTauri was able to get that victory after passing his associate teammate of Christian Eckes in turns 3 and 4 on the final lap in Iowa last episode to win his way into this race now, as we were continuing to try and move our way forwards on these early laps. Now Derek Kraus in that 2311 45 car was up in the mix behind myself now, as we came through to lap 3 up the inside of the number 18 of Kyle Busch there for Joe Gibbs Racing. Next season, along with our final season of the career mode, Kyle Busch will be a whole farewell season given to him next season, as he is retiring at the season's end next season around now, as we would actually allow that 45 of Derek Kraus to go by here on lap 4. I just didn't have enough at this point to hold him off. Definitely needed some adjustments in this car. Didn't really know where I was going to be best at running. I was trying the inside, I was trying the outside. Usually I like to run the outside at Homestead Miami, but I couldn't quite tell what was going to work the best for me at this point, as Chase Elliott actually loses the lead here on lap 6 to his teammate of Eric Jones. We were back up the inside of Derek Kraus and out the inside of our rival of Joey Logano, but here comes Christian Eckes, the final 4 competitor right there up our inside, as we exit turns 4 3 wide for a brief moment there as he goes by. Didn't want to fight him too much. It's still very early in this race, as I'm going to try and push him down towards turns 1, and hopefully we can get clear very quickly of that number 22 of Joey Logano. Just like that right there, we get clear of him and up into 4th place. Harrison Burton just behind myself. Not so great season for him and Joe Gibbs Racing in general. They have had a miserable time. Now is on turn 3 on lap 9. Actually getting to the outside wall right there towards the exit of turns 4 for the first time on the night. That allows Harrison Burton to go by on the inside now. So we lost a position, made a mistake. Then on lap 12, I make the same mistake in turns 4, getting the outside wall again. A lot more heavy this time. Still don't do any damage, thank goodness, to the car. But then around goes the 66 of Sam Mayer. We drop down into the 6th position now to 5 laps to go in stage 1. Still running right behind Mayer, but the caution actually comes out as Christian Eckes is now past Chase Elliott for the championship lead. So right now we run 3rd in the championship, and then you got Brandon Jones, who is really struggling so far here tonight. So I feel like you can already write his chances of a championship for AlphaTauri off. He was in the final 4 last season and struggled in that race as well for the season finale as everybody will be coming to the pit lane here. I was debating on some potential adjustments to this car, and I decided to actually tighten it up just a little bit there with the wedge now, as I could feel it freeing up as the run went on. So I wanted to try and be ready for a potential long run in stage 2 by making the adjustment now, as Joey Logano gains one spot behind us. He moves up now into the 7th position. Eric Jones, Christian Eckes on your front row. It's going to be a one-lap dash here to end the first stage. Now, we're on the outside. This is kind of where I prefer to be honest. But on a restart, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work on this opening lap. Joey Logano to my inside. That's going to be a concern once we get down this back straightaway. He's already actually going to push up into the side of me. A little bit of contact between myself and the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang driver there, the 2018 Cup Series champion now, as we're going to be beating doors a little bit with that 22 of Logano, but thank goodness it doesn't turn into anything as we go down into turn 3, trying to get aggressive, get up the inside of the 19, trying to gain as many positions as we can. Coming to the line, Elliott back out in front of the championship battle as we exit turns 4 down the front straightaway. It's not going to be enough for the 19 of Harrison Burton. We cross the line for P6 now, and then after we finish stage 1, Joey Logano actually would run into the back of my car in turns 1. It's hard to tell from here, but you could definitely tell I was getting hit from behind, and that was a problem because that actually might slow us down at the beginning of stage 2 on the restart, because sometimes if you get hit after a caution comes out, your car doesn't go on the restart. So this is a concern right here that might cost us now, as you can see Logano squeezing us into the 19 of Harrison Burton. That's going to have a big effect now as we come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel, 4 fresh tires once again now. As before we get going though, we have a now quick little reveal of the Brad Keselowski car that I was actually preparing to run for his final race of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here today. It was a throwback to his 2012 championship, but unfortunately I forgot to put it in the game. So you're going to see this run at some point next season, maybe on the 41 car, and a throwback paint scheme for myself on the 6 car. We get back, though, underway for the start of Stage 2, and just like I feared, the car does not go. So Joey Logano out here interfering with the championship battle as much as he can as we drop outside of the top 10 on the opening lap. So now, some work to do. We only have 17 laps here in Stage 2, but fortunately we got back up to speed pretty quickly, so we're already back into the top 10 up the inside of Kyle Busch as we go down this back straightaway. No amped segment just yet. We will have that coming up just shortly now as we go down into turn 3 up the inside of the number 5 of Kyle Larson now, and what a downfall you could kind of consider Larson had this season. He started off the first 10 races, he won like 4 of them, and then he hasn't won since, and he missed the final 4, and it was just a very unfortunate end to the season for our Gordon Hendrick teammate of Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott still leading the championship battle. Eckes in second, myself in third now, as I got a little bit aggressive there with Logano, got a little bit physical, moved him out of the way, and now up into 7th place we go. So he tried to mess us over at the end of stage 1, but we find a way to get back in front of him anyways now as we come through turn 3. Elliott there side by side with the 83 of Christian Eckes. So now I'm looking for an opportunity to kind of slip up in there into that battle and see if we can get past these guys now. And obviously the goal here is to just take the lead and run away with a potential stage victory and setting us up really nicely for stage 3, but it is really tough to make that happen. The car just didn't quite have that pace right now to be a front runner. Of course, I think we have a top 5 car, and right now with Eckes running 5th, Elliott running 6th, now 7th as we pass him for 6th, it's definitely possible we can win a championship today with a 5th place finish. Last season in Las Vegas, it took a race win to win the championship, and we couldn't quite pull that off now as we got into the outside wall for the first time in this second stage and for the 3rd time on the day so far. Thank goodness it didn't actually affect our car, but then the caution would come out a few moments later here from Homestead, Miami, now setting us up for yet another restart on the night. Now caution number 2 here, that is not from a stage, so nobody coming into the pit lane, everybody will be staying out. Now as this time by, we are going to go into the amp segment for the final time this season here from Homestead Miami Speedway. Restarting P7, Elliott and Eckes both on the outside, which could be an opportunity for us to get to the front of this championship battle. But here in Homestead Miami Speedway, it is time to get amped. You saw it all right there, and Joey Logano was all over our back bumper on that restart, but right now we lead the championship battle with 8 laps to go. In stage 2, Christian Eckes behind us on the inside line. Chase Elliott has faded. Eric Jones leads the way over Harrison Burton. Logano in third, and it's pretty much a worst nightmare when you got your rival of Joey Logano in the way here in the championship race when you're battling for a championship. So that's something we got to be careful of, and you just got to pick and choose the moments that you make the move trying to pass at 22. Basically, I was just hoping to get him at the right time where he jumped up to the top, and then I was able to slice through on the inside. That was the main goal. We're going to see if it actually works out. Now on lap 11, still on the back of that 22. He goes a little bit higher here into turn 3, so I drop down to the bottom, but the caution comes out again here in Homestead, Miami. So now we're going to be restarting here on the second row from the outside. So stage 2, bit of a caution-filled stage so far here, which is really not what I wanted, because I wanted to get as many green flag laps as I could to now get a really good understanding for this car for stage 3, but I was not given that here in stage 2. So now side by side with the 22 of Logano, Ross Chastain there for Trackhouse in 5th place. Behind us, Jones and Harrison Burton. On the front row is a green flag is back out. Our future teammate of Christopher Bell there for Rush LeBron behind us in the 17, as it's really good when you see him running very well, because it makes my spirits a lot higher for next season with that team. And it's going to be a whole rebuilding process now, trying to get that Rush LeBron team to the top team in NASCAR in just one final season of the career mode. You're going to see the R&D that we're actually doing, because they're bringing me in not only as a driver role, but to help develop that team, and that's something we've never done before. So I'm very excited for that, and can't wait for you guys to see that as well come to life now as we come through turn 3. Up to the outside wall again we go for the now 4th time on the day. 2 times per stage we seem to like to hit that outside wall, and now side by side with Sam Mayer. And as we came through to start the final lap, still side by side with Mayer, right into the back of Joey Logano, who had faded down to 4th place. Harrison Burton had taken the lead from Eric Jones through turns 1 and 2, but we still lead the championship battle over the 83 of Eckes. And Christian Eckes and Chase Elliott both have just as much speed, or if not more speed, than myself, but we had just kind of gotten ourselves into the right spot at the right time as we make a big move up the inside into turn 3 of Joey Logano. But I took a really awkward line into turn 3, but we still make it work as we slide up though on the exit. Sam Mayer up the inside. Harrison Burton is going to win stage 2. We're going to come through a photo finish at the line there, but we get 4th in the second stage from Homestead Miami Speedway. So really good right now to be leading the championship battle. The car felt pretty good. Still not 100% sure of how this thing is going to drive on the long run, because we never had an opportunity to tell here in stage 2. So that was really the only concern at this point. If stage 2, though, was anything to go by, I don't see a whole lot of green flag racing in stage 3. You might see 2-3 potential cautions. So really not sure what to expect, as everybody will come into the pit lane here for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. But before we get ready to go green for stage 3, we have the brand new Going channel logo reveal and just redesign reveal right here, as you see our brand new logo here. Just a straight up G, and then Going. Lefty Designs made it a great job by him, and a huge shout out to him. Thank you again, Noah, for putting that together. And by now it should be up on the channel with the new branding now, as we get ready to go green from P5 for the start of the 3rd and final stage here from Homestead Miami. Our final 25 laps it is with this 24 car. Anthony Alfredo in the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford Mustang stayed out. He is leading the way. We're on the inside. Logano just behind myself through turns 1. He gets into the back of me as soon as he possibly can. I am fully off the throttle as soon as he got to me, but now of course we're on it, and Logano up our inside. He's into our quarter panel, nearly turning us, and that kind of opens the door for myself to slip up the inside of Eric Jones 3 wide, and all of a sudden we're side by side with Anthony Alfredo for the lead through turn 3. But here comes Joey Logano once again to our back bumper, but it might kind of help us this time as we exit turns 4. A big push from that Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang, and to the lead we go here in Homestead Miami as we complete the first and opening lap of this final stage in the Dixie Vodka 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway. Logano to our back bumper, but can't quite stick with us, and we are clear and away with the lead in our final race for Gordon Hendrick Motorsports, and well in front of this championship battle right now. So if everything stays green, it's looking really, really good for us at this point now. Harrison Burton settles into 2nd place. We know Harrison has a lot of speed. He won stage 2. We know Christian Eckes has a lot of speed, our championship 4 contender, and same for Chase Elliott now, as Burton would close right up to my back bumper very, very quick. So that was a bit concerning. I know I don't have the speed to be be leading this race, and you can see Harrison was right on my back bumper, but surprisingly, he would start to search around here around the track in different lanes and whatnot, and he jumped up to the top, and that was allowing me to stretch out the gap a little bit now. So I was embracing him moving around. I said, you know what, just keep doing it, try making different lanes work. But then he jumped back down to the bottom. He would get right to my back bumper. I would have to throw a bit of a block on him there with 20 laps to go. But what surprised me the most was I was able to hold him off, and as he would once again jump up to the top, that would allow me to once again just cruise by on the inside right here and stay clear now as we came through onto lap 50. 18 laps to go, and this green flag run was starting to stretch out a little bit, and I was loving it because Eckes, Elliott are both still struggling to get through traffic. Eckes is coming through the grid, but he has not got a lot of time to make it happen. And look at the gap we had now. We were comfortably in front of the 19 of Harrison Burton, and now we as well got to think about a green flag pit stop potentially on the way, but everything going perfect right here. Half a second ahead there, as now Christian Eckes would get to within 2.1 seconds with 13 laps to go as he had moved up into 5th place. Elliott was trailing him a little bit by about 2 spots or so, as Eric Jones, though, he got up into 3rd place with 13 to go and was closing in very quickly, not only on Harrison Burton for 2nd, but myself in 1st place. So I realized that was going to be a bit of a problem. Now it was now on lap 56, 12 laps ago. Jones up the inside of Harrison Burton, and he would actually pass the Joe Gibbs Racing driver and move up into 2nd place, and it was just a matter of time until Eric Jones would run myself down. He was very, very fast now as we came through towards the end of lap 57. 10 laps to go at the line, and they're both closing in, not just Eric, but as well as the 19 of Harrison Burton, as we still lead the way. We have led every single lap here in Stage 3, which I did not expect to be saying. A bit of a mistake right there. I clipped the apron, and here comes the 7 and the 19 as this long run goes. The worse we get, and now that's opening up the door for the 7 and the 19, as well as Christian Eckes to potentially close that gap to myself and get this championship battle back alive now, as we have been in command of this championship battle since the middle or so of Stage 2. So that would be absolutely heartbreaking if we ended up losing it at this point now, but you can still see a comfortable 2-second gap to Christian Eckes now on lap 60. Pit stops were not far away at all here now, as Jones, though, continuing to close that gap. And I wasn't too concerned about losing this race, but I really did want to win just so I could do a burnout here if we win the championship. At this point, we only need about a 4th place finish, though, to win the title. But here comes Jones now to our back bumper as we cross the line. He is all over us now as we came through to the end of lap 61. The field light comes on, and I'm looking behind, and I notice Christian Eckes actually comes into the pit lane. So the first one of the final 4, and here comes Eric Jones up the inside. I didn't really have anything for him at this point here with 6 laps to go in this race as we go side by side in turns one. A little bit of contact there with the McLaren driver. Now his teammate Chase Elliott needing a miracle to win the championship too at this point, but we would come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. A very easy call to make here, and it was going to be no tires because we don't need tires to get to the end of this race now, as we are even with Jones at the start of the commitment line and just half a can of fuel. So half a can of fuel gets us 1 lap to the good. So we have an extra lap of fuel here as we're going to come out with a 3.1 second pit stop, and everybody else did 2 tires and 1 can of fuel. So that was a bit interesting because now they're going to have the fresh tire advantage and be able to run way faster lap times than myself. But look at the gap we have over 2nd place of Eric Jones now. So it was looking great at this point now. Just 4 laps to go, left in the season, in our final race for the 24 car, and we're in position to finally get our 2nd championship after coming up short last season at Las Vegas to Kyle Busch, who got his 4th Cup Series championship now as we're closing in towards Daniel Suarez for Going Racing. The tire light comes on with 2 laps to go. That's not a concern. We got plenty of tire to make it to the end of this race still, and of course, like I said, we have an extra lap of fuel, so there's nothing to worry about now at this point. Here as we come through out of turn 2, I'm just trying to not hit anything and just run at my pace. The tires are falling off. I wasn't very fast at this point. Eckes was closing very quick. Jones was closing very quick, but not quite quick enough. Not enough time for them as we come through turns 3 and 4, approaching the final lap. What a season it has been. 6 wins, I believe we're at, trying to make it 7 here. As we come through out of turns 4, the caution comes out as we're coming to the final lap here in Homestead, Miami. Unbelievable. The fuel light had come on, and now there's a concern. If we pit now, we're going to be about 27th, 28th, which means we are not going to win the championship. If we stay out, we risk running out of fuel, which would also mean we don't win the championship. Now, I considered pitting, but I realized with everybody pitting, I would still be like 24th, 25th, and I would not be able to make up all that time to win the championship in just 60 seconds. So I decided to take a risk and stay out. What gives me the better opportunity here? Staying out. And now, as we get ready here to go for this final restart, you see the skyline there of Miami in the background, but leading into next season of this career mode, we'll be joining the Roush LeBron Racing team there to fight for a championship, hopefully one final time in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode in general. Very excited for that there to join up with Keselowski, who's going to have an ownership role just like he does in real life with the same team. So tune in next season. I'm very excited to see what happens, but first we have to settle out a Final Four battle here in Homestead, Miami before we worry about that now, as we have dominated since the last half of Stage 2, and now our championship is at risk due to a caution that comes out about 5 seconds before we cross the line to take the final lap. The green flag is out. 2 laps of fuel are in the car. 2 laps remain in this race. Immediately, I look at the fuel on the dash. It's at 7. Our championship threat, Christian Eckes, is right behind us as we come through turns 1 and 2. I don't know what's going to happen right here. We can only hope that it's in our favor now as we exit turn 2. My hope is we get to the white flag, there's some trouble, a caution comes out, and we don't risk running out of fuel now as I'm trying to cover off both Jones and Eckes. But at this point, I said, you know what? I just got to make sure I hold off Eckes. I'm actually trying to save fuel here through turns 3 and 4, and that's why you see the number 7 just coming through on the outside. I said, you know what, Eric, you can go win this race. I'm trying to win what's more important, a championship. White flag in the air, the final race of the season here in Homestead Miami Speedway, looking for our second ever Cup Series championship. Right behind us is Eckes looking for a championship. The car starts to sputter as we come through the center of turns 1 out of turns 2. We're running out of fuel on the final lap of Homestead Miami. It has been a heartbreaking moment now as Eckes is going to go through and take the championship lead into turn 3. Jones the second, Elliott's third in the championship battle, and we're out of fuel after dominating the race. Unbelievable. We were 5 seconds or so away from crossing the line to take the white flag and cruising to a championship for the second time in our Cup Series career, but instead, in a late turn of events with a terribly timed caution, we lose the championship after running out of fuel. I cannot believe this. I just, as I was crossing the line there, I was just in disbelief. I cannot believe we just lost that, and I was so disappointed right then and there, and I don't know what we could have done different, because if we pitted, even with 4 fresh tires, we're not going to go from 23rd to 25th to, you know, second place in 2 laps. It's just not going to happen. There's too much traffic no matter what line I had run, and Christian Eckes actually faded down a few spots because I ran out of fuel right in front of him, so he ended up getting 5th, but Christian Eckes is now a NASCAR Cup Series champion for Red Bull. What a moment that was. I think that's the first time a modded driver and car has actually won a championship somehow. Surprisingly, the first time in our career mode, but absolute heartbreak for us, and I am so sorry that happened. Obviously, there's nothing we could do about it. The only thing that we could have done differently was taken 1 can of fuel on the pit stop instead, but obviously I didn't anticipate overtime being forced. Unfortunately, you can't see the season recap until the start of next season, with just the way the game works at the end of the season, so there's nothing to show there, but yeah, I just can't believe it. I was in disbelief. Probably the craziest end to a championship we've ever had, but if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I hope you guys like the new logo for the channel, redesigned with the beautiful stuff that Lefty came up with there, and I hope you're excited for this final season of the career mode. Let me know what you thought about that absolutely heartbreaking finish here in our career mode. I cannot believe it, but we're going to give it everything we have with this Roush LeBron Racing team next season. Before we end it, though, of course, thank you to my Going Racing members who really helped me out a lot, of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Visur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Ellis Emery. I really appreciate you guys' support so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one for the Daytona 500. Have a great day, everybody.